gentlemen, all due protocol is highly observed. Now, the motion at hand is this House prefers Western investment to Chinese investment in Africa. This will be the structure of my presentation. First, I will deal with the rebuttals. In the rebuttals, I'll clearly question the reason of preference of the Western investment that has been proposed by the proposition. I'll also deal with the case of employment and infrastructure. Then I'll move on to my substance. The second speaker will talk about the incentive for Africa's development, while I will particularly elaborate on the status quo and the problem that currently exists, and will elaborate further on the principles of China versus Western investment. Now to rebuttals. On the matter of reason of preference, the proposition came forth and actually said that they are looking for something that will actually benefit Africa more. But statistics people of the House actually prove that Chinese investment averages US dollars of 49 million in 1990 to 2.6 million billion US dollars in 2006, which actually shows an increase. Furthermore, gentlemen, ladies, also on that note, over 40% of the wealth that is made by Western investors in Africa actually goes to the Western companies. Only percent compared to the 6% that will go back to Africa, or sorry, the 6% that will actually go back to China. So, gentlemen, ladies, the fact of the matter is, as Western people are investing in Africa, more is taken back to the Western in comparison to what China is investing, which stays in China. Therefore, that point does not stand. They further on and came and talked about employment and actually said that Chinese people actually bring their own labor into Africa. Well, we need to also understand that as much as they bring their people from outside, they also train the local people. So actually the skills also do stay in Africa, and these people are therefore also able to sustain themselves. So in Chinese investment, it is a win-win situation. They talk about investment. Excuse me, people of the House. They also talk about investment in primary and manufacturing infrastructure. Statistics, furthermore, also, gentlemen, ladies, prove that the infrastructure that has been brought by Chinese in comparison to the Western is way much better and way more sustainable than what has been brought in by the Westerns. And therefore, what the Westerns bring is not in comparison to what the Chinese would bring, and therefore makes Chinese investment have an upper hand. Gentlemen and ladies, moving on to the substance we bring as opposition. The status quo. What exactly is the current situation that we're having? Well, the West has clearly taken Africa for a ride for over a decade now, and they've used up all the resources. So, gentlemen, ladies, the fact of the matter is Africa has only gained mountain debts and are now having negative propaganda posed against them, and they are portrayed as a continent that will solely rely on the IMF and the World Bank. And therefore, because the West has neglected them and has given them false premises, the Western only have themselves to blame for having no trust in Africa. Now, gentlemen, ladies, what exactly is the problem in this? The problem is there is no equal benefit. There is no mutual benefit that exists within this. So what we are saying as opposition is that we are not saying China is not investing in Africa. We're saying that as much as China is benefiting from the investment in Africa, Africa is also benefiting. Sit down, ma'am. Now I'll deal with the principles. Gentlemen, ladies, a comparison of Chinese versus Western principles. Sit down, sir. Now, gentlemen, ladies, on the note of China, there are three main principles that run between the lines. One, non-interference. What exactly does China do? China says, you know what, we will invest in your country, but furthermore, do understand that we will accept your terms and conditions put by the African leaders. We're strictly here to do business. What does the West do on the contrary? The West says, let us talk politics and then we'll do business later, which gives them an upper hand at an unfair advantage. Therefore, clearly, ladies and gentlemen, Chinese investment is way much better. I'll take this.
Ma'am, would you say that those conditions are a good thing if it relies on oppressing minorities and beating up people all the time?
Mr. Speaker, we have already stated that the reason why Chinese invest, or as per definition, the reason why Chinese invest in Africa is to give them aid in the form of money. So, we are saying if you are there primarily for the sake of economic benefit, then politics should not be an issue. Now, point number 2. Our principle that runs China and the West. Equality and mutual benefit. Now, what does China say? Or what is the comparison? China, gentlemen, ladies, is forced to fill the gap which the Westerns have clearly failed and unconditionally failed to fill. So we are saying that there really is no risk in China doing business with China, such as infrastructural development in Africa. Now, we are saying that the West, on the other hand, dig in, find what they want, and simply go back. And as statistics have shown, the more they invest in Africa, the more they take out. But on the contrary, China, the more they invest, the less they take out, which means they clearly have an aim of trying to develop the continent. Gentlemen, ladies, point number 3, or comparison, is the method of operation that is used between China and the West. Now, China has learned clearly from the West. They have learned that you do not deposit money straight into the bank account of a corrupt leader. So what have they done? Loans from China, people of the house, do not get deposited into a dictator's bank account, but are promptly sent to a Swiss bank account. Let me give you an example. Angola's recent $2 billion and 2.4 billion credit lines were tied to infrastructure development, which actually means that they invested the money in the form of development and not in the form of money itself. On the contrary, people of the house, the West has clearly failed to do that because they've given a $2.35 billion loan to Angola by Standard Bank Britain, and they have failed to monitor it. Therefore, it has landed in corrupt hands. Clearly, gentlemen, ladies, Chinese investment supports mutual benefit, while Western investment has proven to be a failure. And Western investment clearly dwells on the failure and weaknesses of the African continent. We cannot advocate for such a policy or strategy. Gentlemen, ladies, the basis of China to Africa is a win-win situation, and the West to Africa is lose or win. And we all know the end result. We have shown you beyond reasonable doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that Chinese investment has far more, much more benefits that are sustainable and long-lasting, contrary to the Western investment that is only temporary and, gentlemen and ladies, depriving people of their actual need to invest more and depriving people of the actual need to develop.